Assalamu alaikum, ahlan wa sahlan bikum, and it's me Imtiaz. Welcome back to another lesson. So in the previous lesson we looked at two things. We looked at the Arabic sentence and we also then looked at the started looking at the adjectives. So we said that the Arabic sentences are of two types and are determined by the first word in the sentence. So Arabic sentences can start with a verb, which is called fi'l, and it can start with a noun, which is called ism, or they can start with a pronoun, which is dhamir. And we said that the sentences that start with verb or fi'l are called verbal sentences, and in Arabic it's called al-jumlatul fi'liya. Sentences that start with a noun or a pronoun are called nominal sentences, and in Arabic they're called al-jumlatul ismiya. And we said that the Arabic nominal sentences will generally have two parts. So first part is the subject or the topic, and this is the item that's been described, and this can be a person, it can be a place, or it can be a thing, and this is generally a noun or a pronoun, certainly in a nominal sentence. And in the second part is normally the description or the comment, or it's a piece of information being related to the subject. Okay, and generally this is an adjective. So like English, we said Arabic adjectives in Arabic are used in two forms. The first one is as an attribute. So here we have the old man. Okay, so the old is defining a characteristic of the man, okay, which is the age, or it can be used as a predicate. And here, so the man is old, and we'll notice that the adjective here comes before the noun as a predicate. It comes after the noun but not immediately after, so it uses a linking verb. So where the adjective is used as an attribute in Arabic, this is referred to as an adjective noun phrase, which is mawsuf sifa. And where the adjective gets used as a predicate, this is part of an equational sentence. The adjective is the khabar, and the subject is the mubtada. Okay, so and then we also covered the rules for attribute and a predicate. We said that when the adjective is used as an attribute, that the adjective has to agree with the noun in gender, in number, in definiteness, and also in case. And when it's used as a predicate, then it agrees with the noun. The adjective agrees with the noun in gender, in number, but not in definiteness or case. Okay, so we then went on to look at the first rule, which is to do with gender. We said the adjective must agree with the noun in gender. So if the noun is masculine, the adjective must be masculine, and if the noun described is feminine, then the adjective must also be feminine. So the examples we looked at was talib, which is student, male student, and then we looked at sagir, which is the young or small or young. The examples, we said a young student male. So here one thing we said with the adjective in English, the adjective comes before the noun, but in Arabic we reverse it. So the noun comes first and then comes the adjective. So here we'll say talibun and we'll say saghirun. Talibun, saghirun. When we do the feminine, so we say a young student female, we said before we can use the noun, we have to first turn it into a feminine. So this rule about adding a ta marbuta to a noun only happens when we talk about people. So a student can be male or female. Also with professions, it applies to male and female. So, but with non-humans, the word is either feminine or masculine, and it can't be changed. Okay. So here, so we're talking about a young student female. We need to add ta marbuta to the end of talib, so it'll become talibatun, and because we've added it to the end of the word noun, we'll also then need to add it to the end of the adjective. So talibatun saghiratun. Okay, so but then we also have words that don't end with ta marbuta. So here we've got ibnun, which is son. We've got bintun. Now this, because it refers to a female, it's a feminine word. And jamilun. So here, when we say a beautiful son, we'll say ibnun jamilun, ibnun jamilun. And then when we say a beautiful daughter, we'll say bintun. We don't need to change this because it's already feminine, but we do need to add a ta marbuta to the end of the adjective to make it feminine. So here will be bintun jamilatun, bintun jamilatun. So that was rule number 1. What we're going to do now is go through rules 2, 3 and 4 in this lesson. Okay, so rule number 2. Rule number 2 is that the adjective must agree with the noun in number. Okay, so if the noun is singular, dual or plural, the adjective must also be the same. So here we've got jadidun, which is new. So when we say a new student, a male, we'll say talibun. We said student was talib, talibun jadidun, talibun jadidun. When we say 2 new students, then what we'll need to do is, remember, when we covered the singular, dual, plural lesson, we said that the rule for 2 was that we add alif noon to the end of the noun. So here we will say, when we convert this into 2, we'll say talibanun. So here you can see alif noon has been added. Now because we've added this to the noun, we then also need to add this to the adjective. So it'll become talibanun jadidanun. Okay, then we have the new students, male or mix, and the plural for students is tullab, tullab. So it's tullabun, and then we also need to use the plural for jadid, which is judud. So it's tullabun judud, jududun. Okay, let's look at the female example. So here we got a new student, female will be talibatun, and again we need to add ta marbuta here, will become jadidatun, talibatun jadidatun, talibatun jadidatun. So when we say 2 new students, female, now here we need to apply the same rule, which is alif noon. But before we can add the alif noon, we need to change the ta marbuta to ta marfu'a, which is the normal ta. So it will be talibata alif noon, talibatanun, and then we add the same rule to the adjective. So it will be talibatanun jadidatanun. Okay, so then we have new students, female only, and the rule for female only is that we add alif ta to the end of the noun to make it, but that's only females only. So here we'll say taliba, taliba, and then alif ta, talib. So it'll be talibatun, yeah, and then we add the same rule for the to the end of the feminine word. So talibatun jadidatun. Okay, so talibatun jadidatun, talibatanun jadidatanun, talibatun jadidatun. Okay, so let's look at another one. So we've got a busy doctor. So busy is mashghul, and we said doctor is tabib. So it's tabibun mashghulun, tabibun mashghulun. Next one. And again, try and do these before I do it, so just to test yourself, because once you've done a couple, the rules is exactly the same for all the others. So here, 2 busy doctors, female is, so here we need to convert that into a feminine first and then add the alif noon. So here it's tabibatanun, and then we do the same with the adjective. So we'll change add the ta marbuta, then change it to normal ta, then alif noon. So it'll be mashghulatanun, tabilatanun, mashghulatanun. Again, if you're not sure about this, I recommend you go back and look at the singular, dual and plural lesson. That explains all this. Then we have busy doctors mix. So here the doctors plural for mix is atibba'u, atibba'u, And the rule for plural is that we add waw noon to the end of the noun or the adjective. So here it'll become atibba'u mashghulun. مشغولون أطباء مشغولون. So it's طبيب مشغول, طبيبتان مشغولتان, أطباء مشغولون. So then we have Saeed, Saeed, which is happy. So child is tiflun, tif. So a happy child is tiflun Saeedun, tiflun Saeedun. When we say two happy girls, again we have to first convert the girl. Sorry, the girls is already a female word, so it's bintanun. So we're adding alif noon to the bint, yeah, bintanun, and then we'll add the same here. So we'll add the ta marbuta first and then alif noon. So it's bintanun sa'idatanun, bintanun sa'idatanun. When we say happy families, here it is families is aila. So the rule is we add alif ta to the end. So ailatun sa'idatun, ailatun sa'idatun. Okay. Now there is for the plural when it comes to non-humans there is an exception, and that is that. So where we said the adjective must agree with the noun in singular, dual and plural, for non-humans that rule is for singular and dual only. For plural there is an exception. So here if we look at an example, we've got kabir, which is big. So we've got a big house. We said house is bait, so it's baytun kabirun, baytun kabirun, which is for singular. And then for two big houses it'll be, we add the same rule that we did before. We add alif noon, so it's baytanun and kabiranun, baytanun kabiranun. Now when we talk about non-human things, instead of using a plural adjective, we were going to use a feminine singular adjective. So here I'll show you. So we've got big houses. So the plural for house is buyut. So Bait becomes buyutun, but instead of saying buyut kabirun, we will instead say kabira. So we use the singular form, singular adjective, okay, when it comes to plural objects. So we use, this is plural, but this is feminine singular, okay. So buyutun kabiratun. Let's look at another example. So we've got a new book. Will be kitabun jadidun. Two new books will be kitabanun jadidanun. And new books, so plural for books is kutubun jadida. So kutubun jadidatun. Okay. So next again another one. So a new chair. Chair is kursi. So jadid, so it'll be kursiyun jadidun. Two new chairs will be kursiyanun jadidanun. And new chairs, so the plural for kursi is karasi, karasi. So karasiyun jadidatun. So this always is the feminine singular adjective, okay, when we use it with plurals. Next one, we'll do another one. So here it's a big tree. So tree is shajara, shajaratun. So here, because this ends with ta marbuta, we need to end the adjective. Shajaratun kabiratun. Two big trees. Again, the same rule that we've been applying up to now is shajaratanun kabiratanun. Shajaratanun kabiratanun. Okay. And then big trees. So the plural for trees is ashjarun. So shajaratun becomes ashjarun. And then the adjective is kabira. Kabiratun. Ashjarun kabiratun. Okay. So here the word is jamilun Jamil, which is beautiful. So a beautiful handbag. A handbag is حقيبة. حقيبة. And because this again ends with ta marbuta, we add it to the adjective. So حقيبة جميلة. حقيبة جميلة. We say two beautiful handbags will be حقيبتان جميلتان. حقيبتان جميلتان. Okay. And lastly, we have beautiful handbags. So the plural for handbag is حقائب. حقائب. So حقيبة becomes حقائب. So here be حقائب جميلة. Yeah, حقائب جميلة. So that was rule number 2, that the adjective must agree with the noun in number. Okay, but then also in gender as well. So everything's starting to come together. Next one is rule number 3. And rule number 3 is that the adjective must agree with the noun in definiteness. Okay, so that is, if the noun is definite, then the adjective must be definite. And if the noun is indefinite, then the adjective must also be indefinite. And this is why you've seen tanween at the end of the examples that I've presented up to now. So here we've got jadid, which is new. So we said new student, a new student. So again, if you're not sure about definite or indefinite, if you go back to the lesson on definite articles, you'll see what we mean. So when there is no a in the English language, so we use markers to indicate definite or indefinite. So here, طالب, here tanween is added to the end to indicate that it's indefinite. So it's طالب. Now because the noun has it, we also then need to add it to the adjective. So it's طالب becomes جديد. طالب جديد. So this is a new student. If we say the new student, so here we're making it definite. What will happen is we will change the noun, we'll prefix it with an al, so it's at-talib, but then the tanween is changed from a dammatain into a single damma. So at-talibu, and then we do exactly the same to the adjective. So prefix it with al and end it with a damma. So at-talibu al-jadidu. At-talibu al-jadidu. Okay, so tanween for making it indefinite, and al at the beginning, and damma for when we make it definite. Okay, so a new student female. So here we do exactly the same. Will be طالبة and جديدة. So here this ends with tanween, so does this طالبة جديدة, and we've done quite a few examples of this earlier on. And same here, the new student female would be الطالبة. So الطالبة, sorry, so prefix with al, and then change that to a damma. So الطالبة الجديدة. الطالبة الجديدة. Okay, if we look at a busy doctor, it is مشغول is busy, so طبيب مشغول. طبيب مشغول. Now if we change that to the busy doctor, it will become الطبيب المشغول. Okay, two busy doctors will be طبيبتان مشغولتان, and then we change it to the two busy doctors, it will be الطبيبتان المشغولتان. Okay, then we say busy doctors mix will be أطباء مشغولون. أطباء مشغولون. So here we'll say the busy doctors will be الأطباء المشغولون. All right. We'll look at a happy child. So child is tifl, tiflun, tiflun, and then we add the adjective at the end. Tiflun sa'idun. Tiflun sa'idun. This is a happy child. So when we change it to the happy child, it be at-tiflu as-sa'idu. At-tiflu as-sa'idu. Okay. Then we have two happy girls. So here the two girls is bintanun, and then we do the same. First change it to add the ta marbuta and then the rule. Okay, so sa'idatanun, bintanun sa'idatanun. And when we say the two happy girls, it's al bintanun as-sa'idatanu. Okay, then we got happy families. So family is a'ila, and we said the rule for the plural was we had alif ta, so a'ilatun sa'idatun. A'ilatun sa'idatun. Okay, so that is the thing that you need to do with the definiteness. So if we change that to the happy families, will become al-a'ilatu as-sa'idatu. Yeah, al-a'ilatu as-sa'idatu. Okay. The thing is, we al is not the only way to, as we've seen from the previous lessons, al is not the only way to make something possessive, to make it definite. The other way to make something definite is by adding, making it using the possessive pronouns. So the possessive pronoun makes the noun definite without having to add al. So here we say a new book will be kitabun jadidun. Kitabun jadidun. So when we say, for instance, my new book, we will say kitabiyun kitabi al-jadidu. So here we made by saying my book, we now made it definite, and then we just add al to the adjective. So al and then jadid and then and with a damma. So kitabi al-jadidu. So here a blue pen, so it will be qalamun and azraqu. Qalamun azraqu, which is a blue pen. Now if we say his blue pen, again we covered this in the lessons on possessive pronouns. To make when we say it's his, we will add ha at the end of the noun. So here it will become qalamuhu al-azraqu. Qalamuhu, so here al is added, al-azraqu. Yeah, qalamuhu al-azraqu. So we say a small house would be baytun saghirun, baytun saghirun. But if we were then to say our small house, so when we say something is ours, we will add noon alif at the end. Okay, so he's baytuna as-saghiru, baytuna as-saghiru, so our house. Yeah, so this still stays the same, but we make it definite by adding al at the beginning. So we covered two rules here. Now let's do a bit of practice with both. And again, try and do this before I give you the answer. And again, we're going to go through, build up some vocabulary, some words, write them down, and then when we come through do the exercise, you can then go through and do it easily. So the first one is saghirun, which is small or young, which we've covered before already. Then we have kabirun, which is big or old. Then we have salihun, which is good. Then we have qadimun, which is old or ancient. Then we have saminun, which is fat. Then we have nahifun, which is thin. Nahifun, thin. Then we have sakhinun, which is hot. And we have baridun, which is cold. Okay, so saghirun, which is small, kabirun, salihun, qadimun, saminun, nahifun, sakhinun, baridun. Okay, some more words. Kathirun, which is many. Mufidun, which is useful. Mumtazun, which is excellent. Qadimun, what's a repeat actually, we covered this before, old or ancient. Then we have tawilun, which is tall. Qathirun, qasirun, which is short. And then we have rakhisun, which is cheap, and then غالي, which is expensive. Okay, so كثير, مفيد, ممتاز, قديم, طويل, قصير, رخيص, غالي. Yeah. Okay, so if you haven't, just go back and record these, and then what we're going to use these in the some of these in the examples that we're gonna, or in the practice we're gonna go through now. Okay, so here we go. So my new colleague. Okay, so colleague, which we covered in the earlier on in the lesson, we said was zamil. So to make something mine, what do? We add a ya at the end, so it'll be zamili. Zamili. So then we need to say new. The new was jadid. So again we need to make it, because we made this definite, we need to add al at the beginning to make it. So zamili al jadidu. Zamili al jadidu. Okay, next one is our old office. Okay, so we said office is maktab, and to make something ours we add a noon and alif at the end. So maktabuna, and then old was qadim, maktabuna al qadimu. Yeah, maktabuna al qadimu. Okay, then we have her beautiful garden. So garden is hadiqa, and hers, when we make something hers, we add a ha at the end, ha alif. Yeah, so it will become hadiqatuha, and again we need to make the adjective definite. So was beautiful, we said was jamil, but we need to have, because this is a feminine word, we need to then do feminine and then add up al. So hadiqatuha al jamilatu, hadiqatuha al, her beautiful garden. Then we have new pens. The word for pen was qalam, and the plural is aqlamun, and then adjective. So aqlamun, and do you remember the rule, the exception? Jadidatun, aqlamun jadidatun, because this is plural, non-human. So then we use feminine singular. Okay, aqlamun jadidatun. An expensive car would be sayyaratun, which is car, and expensive we said was ghali. So is this ghaliyatun, so again this ends with ta marbuta, this also ends with ta marbuta, ends with tanween, okay, sayyaratun ghaliyatun. The beautiful girls. So girl is bint and girls is alif ta. So banat is plural, but because we're saying the, we'll say al banatu, and then al jamilatu. Okay, so jamil is plural, because this starts with al, this also must, and then we add the rule for plural. So al banatu al jamilatu. Okay, one more, we say cheap furniture. So furniture is athathun, and we said cheap was rakhis. So athathun rakhisun, many houses. So house is bait, and we said plural of houses is buyut. Yeah, so it'll be buyutun, and then many was kathir. So the adjective will be kathiratun, because it is non-human. Yeah, buyutun kathiratun. Say the tall doctor. So doctor is tabib. So and tall is tawil. So at-tabibu at-tawilu. Yeah. So because this starts with al, and this must also then match. Okay. At-tabibu at-tawilu. The excellent students. So student is talib, students is plural is طلاب. So it'll be الطلاب الممتازون. Okay, so this is the rule for plural. Yeah, واو نون at the end. So we still do the prefix here, الممتازون. So الطلاب الممتازون. Okay, a few more. So we've got useful books. So we said book is kitab and books is kutub. So it's kutubun. And useful was mufid. And again, so we say kutubun mufidatun because this is a non-human. So we use this feminine singular. Yeah, kutubun mufidatun. Next one is my big school. So school is madrasa. So to make something mine, we'll say add ya at the end. So it becomes madrasati. And then we'll say my a big school. So big is kabir and becomes al-kabira because this is a feminine word and feminine here. And then also al to make it definite. So madrasati al-kabiratu. Next one is the hot tea is shai is tea. So we'll say ashai, which is the hot tea. And hot was sakhin. So ashai as-sakhinu. Ashai as-sakhinu. Then we have her good husband. Husband is zawj. So her husband would be zawjuha. Zawjuha. And we said good was salih. So zawjuha as-salihu. Zawjuha as-salihu. Okay, so that is rule number 3. And now what we're going to do is go through and look at rule number 4. So the rule number 4 is that the adjective must agree with the noun in case. Case is called i'rab. Okay, and case endings are, as we covered in one of the lessons before, are little markings called harakat. Okay, and these markings are attached to the end of the words to indicate their grammatical function. Okay, so if we have here the subject of the sentence, the boy is tall. Okay, so here the subject of the sentence is boy. Okay, the object of a preposition. So here we're saying to the right. Okay, and what we're doing here is the object is right and to is the preposition. So here, so this is just an example of what a case is. Okay, and I'll go through and give you an example of this in a minute. So here we'll say al-walad tawil. Al-walad tawil. Okay, so the boy is tall. One thing you notice is that we talked about the case endings. So what happens? So what happens here is when we use the Arabic, we'll add markings at the end of the word to indicate what case it is. So we've got 3 cases that we're going to go through. So nominative, genitive and accusative, and each one represents basically a case marking. So here we said ilal yamin. So here the word, the object is the yamin, which is right. So we will add the thing just to the nouns. Okay, not to, so here because al-walad tawil, not an adjective, so it'll apply to both of these here, but on here it's just where it's a preposition, it just adds it to the object. And also one other thing is that the case markings are either added to the top or to the bottom of the nouns or an adjectives, but never to the sides. So as I just mentioned, there are 3 case markings in Arabic. The first one is nominative, which is called marfu'a. The second one is called genitive, which is majroor. And the third one is called accusative, which is called mansub. Okay, so if the noun or adjective is definite, then the case marking short vowel is added to the end of the word. Okay, and that short wording for nominative, when it's definite, it is ad-damma. Yeah, when it's genitive, that case marking is a kasra, and when it's accusative, it is a fatha. Okay, that is when the noun is definite. Okay, so we add this to the end of the noun or adjective. Okay, if it's indefinite, then the case marker is a tanween, which is the doubled form of each one of these. So indefinite, it will be dammatain here, and then if it's indefinite, it'll be kasratain, so doubled form, and if it's accusative, it will be fatatain. Okay, so the rule to remember is that the noun and adjective must match the case ending. Okay, so if we look at an example, we'll say a new student. Here we'll say طالب جديد, so a new student. So here what will happen is when we add, because this is a new student, we're saying it's indefinite, so that means we need to add a tanween. Okay, so he'll be طالب and then جديد, طالب جديد. Okay, and the majroor, if we do the same example, we'll say it'll be طالب جديد. So here, if with the genitive, and we'll cover the examples on these later on. So he'll be طالب. So again, tanween, the double form, جديد, طالب جديد. So really the rule to remember is that, you know, they must match. And when we start to do more examples of these, you know, we'll cover these in more detail. Then accusative, we'll do the same thing here. So the only difference here is when you add, and again this is the lesson, when I covered this in the lesson for tanween, we covered this. So here when you add double form of fatha, you have to add an alif. Yeah, so طالبا, unless it's a ta marbuta. Oh, so it's طالبا جديدا, طالبا جديدا. Okay, so and there's a rule, طالبا جديدا. If we do the nominative, so if we will go through these and I'll explain what they are. So a nominative case is when they are words on their own, when the subject, the noun is the subject of the verbal sentence, or it is a subject and predicate of a nominal sentence, and we'll cover this in the next lesson. So I'll do lots of examples on this, and we'll cover this in when we do the verbal sentences. These were already covered in the lesson words on their own. You notice that we added the same on the noun and the adjective. And then also when it's an vocative word, so here if you're addressing, so yeah Ahmed, or you say you know you're addressing someone. The genitive is when it's an object of a preposition. So preposition is stuff like to, in, on, you know, so they are prepositions. Or if it's an object of a locative verb, or if it's a second term of an idafa. So when we cover subject and predicate, the predicate will, the second term would be the genitive. It will be the second term of the idafa. So we'll cover that in this session as well. And then accusative is when it's object of a transient verb, or an expression of time, place, and manner. Okay. Now we will cover all these, like I said, in the upcoming lessons, so don't worry about these, and I'll make these clear, whether it's a nominative case, a genitive, accusative. I just want to stay focused on the adjectives at the moment, the lesson that we're working on at the moment, because if we go astray, then we're gonna basically you know, it's hard to come back. So these were the 4 rules that we've covered. Before we finish, I want to do is go through and use the adjectives. You will have cases where we want to use more than one adjective. So using multiple adjectives, I thought I'll go through and show you how that works as well. So the form of all adjectives of nouns must be chosen in to match in gender, plurality, definite, and grammatical case. And this is what we already covered. So what applies to single must also then apply to multiple adjectives. So here we got an old house. So it is Baytun Qadimun. Baytun Qadimun. And we say then the old house will be Al Baytu Al Qadimu. Okay, so that is when it's just one. If we were to, the adjectives that can be added after the noun and are usually separated using a vowel. Okay, this is in Arabic. Some people say don't use a vowel, some say use, but normally when they speak in Arabic, if there's more than one adjective, they will add a wa at the end in the middle. So if we say an old red house, so we'll say Baytun Ahmaru wa Qadimun. Baytun Ahmaru wa Qadim. Okay, so here we're saying an old red house. Okay, Baytun Ahmaru wa Qadimun. If we look at this one, the old rest house, so not only do we add the wa, but we also then maintain the same rule. So here it'll become al baytu al ahmaru wa al qadimu. Now normally what happens is if there's a wa and the word after it has a definite, you just ignore the alif, so it becomes al baytu al ahmaru wal qadimu. Yeah, al baytu al ahmaru wal qadimu. Okay, so the question is there a correct order of the adjectives? You know, should old come first or red come first, or so the answer is absolutely. So when using multiple adjectives to describe something in a single sentence, there is an order to follow, and this is the order that's followed generally in English. Okay, and we then normally apply this in the same way. So the first thing is quantity. Okay, Arabic, so we have 1, 2, 3, so we're using numbers. When you define, you know, one item or two items or 5 items, the number will generally come at the beginning. Okay, so if we say an Arabic numbers are written from left to right, just like in English. So if we just quickly go through these, so we've got 0, okay, which is and it looks like that in Arabic, is called sifr. Then we have 1, which is called wahid. And wahid is the only time wahid is used is when you want to specify one and only one item. Okay, and the number 1 comes after. It's the only time that the number 1 comes after the noun. Okay, so if we say one car, we will say sayyaratun wahidatun. Okay, so it's the only time when the wahid comes, the number comes after the noun. So sayyaratun wahidan, so you're specifying one and only one item. Okay, sayyaratun wahidatun. So then we have number 2, which is ithnan. Now because Arabic has a dual form, we never really use the number 2 to define when we're talking about items, so you don't have to use the number. Okay, to specify the 2 of something, we use the dual form, and this is what we did earlier on. So we said, when we said 2 cars, the rule was that we add alif nun to the end of the word to say indicate that it's 2. So we will say sayyaratan. Okay, so number 2 is never really used when we specify 2 things. Instead we use the rule. Okay, next we have is number 3, which is written like this, so it's a backward 3. That's called thalatha. Okay, and when counting between numbers 3 and 10, there's a rule that we need to apply, and that is, so if we look at this, we've got 3 cars. Okay, so what we do is we use the plural form of the noun, so we'll have sayyara is the car, will become sayyarat. and then the number comes before the plural noun. So here the number will come. So number 1 comes after the noun, 2 we don't really use, and 3 to 10 the numbers come before to the plural noun. So here, so when we'll say sayara basically becomes sayarat. Okay, so and the number, unlike the adjectives where we have most adjectives must follow the rule that the adjective matches the noun, when we do numbers, numbers are the only exception. So the number disagrees in gender with the noun. So here we know that this is a feminine word. So what we will do is we'll use the masculine version of the number. Okay, so here you can see it's called thalatha, and what we do is we write it down as thalath, and what happens is that we drop the ta marbuta at the end of the number. So it's thalath sayarat. Okay, I hope that made sense. So if you remember that the number disagrees in gender, so if it's a feminine noun, then we use a masculine number. This is only from 3 to 10. And if it's a masculine noun, then we'll use the number as is written there. Okay, so if we look at another example, we'll say 3 students, male or mixed. Okay, so students, the plural of students is tullab, and because it's male word, okay, so when we say 3 students, we will use the same word here. So we'll say thalath tullabun. The only thing is that we must pronounce the silent T. So here, instead of saying thalatha tullab, it'll be thalathat tullab. Thalathat tullab. Okay? Oh, quite a lot to learn. But if you go through and watch this video a few times, you'll definitely do the graphs. And we'll do a few more examples just so that you get an understanding. Okay? So then we have number 4, which is arba'a. Okay? So let's say 4 boys. So here we got boys. Boy is walad, and the plural of walad is awlad. And so when we say 4 boys, what are we going to add? Exactly. So this is exactly as it is, because this is masculine, so we use the feminine form here. So arba'at, and again we pronounce in the ta, arba'at awlad. Okay. If we say 4 girls, so girl is bint, and the word will be banat. So here what will happen is that we will drop the ta marbuta and just have it up to that point. So it'll be arba'a banat. Okay. Let's look at number 5. Is written like a 0 or a heart upside down. Is khamsa. Yeah, khamsa. So if we say 5 men, so rajul is man, and men is rijal. Okay, so when we say 5 men, we'll say exactly as it is. It'll be khamsat rijal. If we say 5 women, it will be, so a woman is imra'a, but the plural of women is nisa. Okay, so when we say 5 women, we will now need to drop the ta marbuta to make it a masculine. So it'll be khams nisa. Okay. If we look at number 6 is written, looks more like a 7. It's sitta. Okay, so when we say 6 books, so book is kitab and books is kutub. So we'll say, and because that is masculine, we'll say sittat kutub. Okay, we say 6 handbags, so handbag is haqiba and plural is haqaib. Okay, And so when we say 6 handbags, we'll say ست حقائب. ست حقائب. Okay. Number 7, written line upside down V, V, is سبعة. Okay. So if we say 7 pens, so pen is قلم, and plural of pen is أقلام. So 7 pens, and this is masculine, would be سبعة أقلام. Okay. If we do number 8 is ثمانية. Okay. I'm not going to go to do any more examples because the rules is exactly the same for all of these. Okay. 9 is تسعة, and then 10 is عشرة. Okay, and what we'll do is in the future lessons we'll go through and do more of these examples on numbers, and then we'll cover from 13 all the way to 11 all the way to 100, and then 200, 300, and 1,000, a million, etc. But we'll have a lesson dedicated just for the numbers, and we'll do more exercises with these numbers, inshallah. Yeah. Okay, so just a recap again. So one car specifies one and only one item. The number 1 comes after the noun. It's the only time it comes after the noun. So سيارة واحدة. Okay. When we talk about 2 cars or 2 items, then the number 2 is not used. Instead, we use the dual rule. Okay, which is the alif noon, سيارتان. Okay. And then if we do the 3 plus is that we have those rules in place. So we'll say ثلاث سيارات. So here, if it's plural, you use a plural form of the noun, and then the number disagrees in gender with the noun. Okay, so that's the rule to remember. Okay, so that was the first thing, which was quantity. The second one is opinion. So after we use in Arabic, we'll use number, then we'll go on to use something that defines our opinion or appearance. Okay, so here, so we'll say one beautiful car. So one we said was comes after. So if we say سيارات واحدة, and then جميلة. So سيارات واحدة جميلة. Now the question is, do we really need to specify one? Because we are talking about one, we'll say one beautiful car. Yeah, because it's one, we can remove the wahid. Yeah, and instead say سيارة جميلة, because we're talking about a beautiful car. Yeah, a beautiful car. So it's really up to you if you want to specify that one. Most of the time, I don't use it. So the next one is size. Okay, so if we say a beautiful small car, we'll say سيارة صغيرة جميلة. Now, like we said earlier on, that when you have multiple, we can then separate these with a wow. So if we read that, it will be سيارة صغيرة وجميلة. سيارة صغيرة وجميلة. Condition we have is so here a beautiful small shiny car. Okay, so if I was to write that, it'll be and the word for shiny is لامعة. So if we write it, it'll be سيارة لامعة صغيرة جميلة. And again, we should add the vowels in. So it's سيارة لامعة وصغيرة وجميلة. Yeah, you add the wow after the first before the second adjective. So سيارة لامعة وصغيرة وجميلة. Okay. Next one is age. If there is an age, so if we say a beautiful small shiny new car, it'll be سيارة جديدة ولامية وصغيرة وجميلة. Now, this is getting a bit tiresome, reading such a long phrase. So the best thing is to limit it to 2 or 3. to keep it. Otherwise you'll get tired of saying it. So yeah, keep it small and sweet. Then we have is color. Okay, so we can say here we can say a beautiful red car. Okay, so we will say سيارة حمراء جميلة, or you can say سيارة حمراء وجميلة. Okay, and then we have the origin, so I can say a beautiful German car, so it'll be سيارة ألمانية جميلة. Okay, so this is Germany, and this is beautiful. Okay, next you can have materials. So if you want to describe the internals of the car, you know, it's got leather seats and stuff, so you can do that. And then finally we've got a purpose. So these are some of them, and I you know, some places they define about 12 different orders that you can follow. I've just listed the most common ones. So if we look at an example again, there's other words that when you add this word, like for instance very, that normally comes right at the end. So here we'll say رجل كبير جدا, so a very old man. So if I said a very good tea, it'd be الشاي لذيذ جدا. Yeah, so say old yellow boots, or boots are خذاء. So here then the color أصفر قديم, خذاء أصفر وقديم. Yeah, one more, we'll say his new blue pen, so قلمه الأزرق الجديد, قلمه الأزرق الجديد. So رجل كبير جدا خذاء أصفر قديم قلمه الأزرق الجديد. Okay, so that's the end of another lesson. I know we've covered a lot, and if you have any questions, like I said, please feel free to message me, and I will try and help as much as I can. Okay, in the next lesson we're going to go through and look at equational sentences where the adjectives are used in predicate form, and we'll also then look at idafa construction, and we'll cover some of the nominative and the genitive cases. You know, we'll do more examples. Also we'll cover some questions words, so we can start to really put sentences together. Okay, and once again, if you like the video, then please like, share and subscribe to our channel, and also then please share with others that may find this useful, and when you give comments, you know, that really helps me and motivates me to do more. So thank you so much. Inshallah, I'll see you in the next lesson. Fi amanillah. Assalamu alaikum.